called Chunty.
Hi, 2021 is here, finally, and so am I. I am just going to run with this. It's episode 25 of the Chuntcast. Haven't done one for a while, but I'm back. It's a new year. I've had a long break, figured out what I really want to do with this show going forward. And we just started 2 episodes of the Let's Talk Games cast as well over on the other channel with Dan and Jamie. So it's kind of getting my spark going again, and here we are. So I've taken the effort to kind of pretty this up a little bit. You'll see in some of the design work of it. I'm happy with it. I haven't quite finished with it yet. There's some transitions that I want to create. I'm learning how to do that, so I can add some extra stingers and stuff in here to make it just up the game a bit. And then later on the year, I'll upgrade to a new camera. This is still like a 153-year-old webcam, Logitech C920. Does the job. It is what it is. It doesn't look too bad. I've kind of cropped in on me a bit so you're not seeing my whole room and you can see me a bit more as I'm talking to you. So yeah, how have you been? I know that was just a massive info blab dump on you all over your face. But let me know. Just comment below, say good day. Let me know how your Christmas was and how your New Year's was. Hopefully some positives given everything that's been going on. But yeah, I've needed the time off, the time away, just to clear my head and get myself right again. But yeah, just straight up off the bat to the 2 people that are going to watch this all the way to the end. I'll just thank you ahead of time. Thank you for your time. You're better than the rest. Yes. So today, there's a few things I want to talk about. There's a lot actually, but I've only narrowed it down to a few on this one. I'm not going to waste a lot of your time today, but there's a few things that I want to really touch on today. But first, I've got an idea for this year. I don't know if it'll hit the right way, but it's just an idea. I like the Green Lantern. I like DC Comics and all that. Those of you that know me, and I thought about creating like a group name, like for those loyalists or the people that actually turn up every week or that actually hang around for my content online or whatever. Like a Chunt core, like the Green Lantern core. I want to do something like that, like make my own logo in the Green Lantern format. Maybe down the line make a ring out of it, for, I don't know, some reward tier or something, I don't know. But for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, let me just switch over. So these are the Green Lantern cores that are more not widely known. There's more than this, but Green Lantern in the middle there is the main one. And you've got all the different emotions of the emotional spectrum, right? And they all have different powers and weaknesses and strengths. So, not that I'm going to go too far in depth into this, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, I want to make my own logo of this. Like, this is the emblem they wear on their shirt or on their uniform or on their ring. Just an idea. Let me know if you think that's cool. It's just going to give me something else creative to think about and have a go at later on during the year, depending on the feedback. But one more thing. I've been invited to partake in Australian Artist Calendar. It's like a promotion kind of thing. It's an 18-month calendar, so it'll spread out for quite some time. Basically, what it's going to do is showcase a bunch of Australian like independent or lesser-known artists. Like there's a group that I'm in that I've been in for quite some time, where individuals or independent artists kind of share their work or promote things that they're working on. So this is what it is. This is just the main kind of draft promo image. So Australian Comic Art Portfolio Collection. So what's going to happen, this isn't the official cover. This is just a bit of promotional art that's going around social media. So you'll have your, every month, different artists. You'll have their bio on there. I picked September because that's my birth month. It just happened to be free at the time. So that's what I'm doing. So what I need to do is come up with a piece of art for this before April or something. So after this recording, I'm going to go straight into drafting something to do with that. So that's pretty cool to sort of pump it out there. I think they're doing a Kickstarter for it. Once I know more about it, I'm going to start putting it in my description below for a link to it. If anyone's interested in supporting that. I'm very excited for it. It's kind of the first thing like this I've been involved in, particularly as an independent artist. I'm surprised I actually got the invite, to be honest. I don't have that big of a presence, I guess we'll say, online, but I'll take it, man. I'm pretty excited. So I'll carry on with that in the coming weeks, just updating you as you go. I want to put it out there, so I don't care if you don't care, but I do. And then secondly, something else before I start going into the main topics. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Those of you who know me, I have a soft spot for this game and this character. It's an Aussie studio. It's all Aussie made back in the day on the, I think, was it 8th or 7th gen? I can't remember. The one with the Xbox, GameCube and PS2 era, that one. The golden era. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger came out and it was published by EA, Chrome Studios Australia, and then it got published by, I think, Activision or something for the last two. People still remember it. I still do. I have a soft spot for him, as I said. I supported the first game. I backed that one on Kickstarter as well. And that was a wildly, if I can even talk, wildly successful campaign. And then they released the game on everything, all the consoles. You can buy them on PlayStation, Xbox and Switch. So that's great. That's good news. And there's been a fan call for them to do the next one and hopefully the third one. And who knows, maybe it'll lead to a proper modern sequel. That's what I'm hoping for. Not only because I like the character, but it's an Aussie studio, man. And I would like to see more Aussie studios make bigger games or have a bigger presence in the industry. And like we have so many talented people here in Australia, which is why I'm stoked to be a part of that comics calendar. That Aussie studio, I enjoy their games. I want them to see them succeed, and they're doing the second one. They reached their goal in like 2 hours. They fully funded it. Just the first goal to actually make it a go. Like they've got stretch goals, but the first goal that they had to meet, they met it in 2 hours. So there's a call for it. The fans are there for it, and I'm one of them. I'm going to back this, and I just haven't chosen the tier yet. But at least I'll get a copy of the game. But we'll let this guy tell it better than I can.
G'day, Chrome here again.
G'day.
You asked for it, here it is. With your help, a Ty 2 remaster for consoles. To our previous backers, thanks a heap for helping us bring the Ty 1 remaster to life. We couldn't have done it without you. And to any new backers, welcome to the Bush Rescue team. So what exactly is Ty 2? Well, Ty 2 is just more. More of what you love. More boomerangs, more vehicles, more collectibles, more everything. And what will you get in the remaster? Well, we've been flat out like a lizard drinking, adding features. Check this lot out. Higher res textures, full dynamic shadows and enhanced graphical effects. And we've restored the art that was cut from memory in the original release. The set pieces and boss fights are now replayable with improved boss AI. Improved card controls, camera and UI with support for horizontal or vertical split screen local multiplayer. Skins for Ty and the 4B, which you can purchase with the cogs. Hardcore mode returns. 1 life to finish the game, and if you die, we erase your save game, because it's the only way to be sure. If we hit the stretch goals, there's a few special goodies in store for you too. Ty 2 is a huge game. Your backing will also help fund all the testing we need. And of course, we've got a bunch of grouse physical goodies on offer too. Ty 2 soundtrack on double CD or vinyl. The art of Ty 2 coffee table book.
That's cool.
Ty enamel pins. Bush Rescue figure set.
That's cool.
We'll focus on releasing the Switch version first, then the PS4 and Xbox One versions after that. Check out the pledge tiers and the awesome rewards. Join us on this adventure. Help us bring the Ty 2 remaster to consoles. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. So yeah, look, I'm keen for this. I just wanted to spend some of your time and mine today, a minute 42 of it, just giving it a bit of a signal boost, as much as I can anyway. I was happy to see the first one succeed, and I want to see this one succeed as well. So if you do have any interest in Ty 2, go check it out. The first game, you can buy it on digital stores now. I don't think there's physical copies on any console, but don't quote me on that. But anyway, I've got it on Xbox, and I've been playing it, and I quite enjoy it. So I'm very excited for this next one. Right, so now that we've got those out of the way, just two little bits and pieces at the top of the show. Going forward, this is all going to be just the main topics. So let's just hook right into it. I did have some other stories on here. I did get my notes and everything sorted a couple days ago, ready for this weekend, but there's been a few things that happened since that I've just dumped it. So I'm going to be a bit rusty here because I only just finished my notes yesterday, or last night, so I'm gonna follow through as much as I can. I mean, it's my first show back in, so give me a break. So first off is WandaVision. I actually watched the first 2 episodes last night. I wasn't going to, right? I was going to just wait. I was going to wait it out until they all came out and then just binged it. But I'm kind of glad that I didn't. I'm a bit disappointed, actually. And let me just kind of explain why. It's off the wall, fair enough. It's something totally different that you would not expect from the MCU, like a cookie cutter affair. And I've always been one of those people that criticize the Marvel movies for being kind of, better for worse, just cookie cutter events. Some work better than others. But this particular show, like, I know the comic, I'm familiar with the comic book that they're kind of basing this idea from. But if you're not of that audience, right? Like, if you're just a casual Marvel watcher or a Disney person or just a whatever person, you're just like, oh, what? The next Marvel thing's out? Let's have a look. You're just going to be like, what the fuck is this? What am I watching? And even I was like that. And I was like, am I meant to enjoy this? I didn't enjoy it at all. The first 2 episodes are the only ones out so far. And it's going to be week to week from here on out. I didn't enjoy it, man. And the points are basically both of the episodes are just filled with filler, basically. Nothing much happened. And I mentioned to the guys last night, just chatting about it, just kind of get my thoughts around it. There's maximum about 2 to 3 minutes of intrigue or stuff that actually happens in the both episodes that makes you go, oh, what's that about? There's obviously something afoot, right? Like, something's wrong. This isn't normal. And that's evident. But the way they went around it, they didn't have to waste so much time. The first episode is wasted on just like a 1950s, or the whole thing is set around like a 1950s kind of sitcom or rom-com, whatever you want to call it, from back in the day, with laugh tracks and everything. And it's black and white. And the first episode is about the Vision and his boss is coming over for dinner. They wasted about 10 minutes of the first episode drawing out this joke that didn't land about what the heart meant on the calendar. Like, what was that? What does that mean? And they both couldn't answer it, and they're waiting for each other to answer it. Like they forgot an anniversary or something like that. It just didn't work. It felt awkward and then you find out it's his boss's last name, right? Spoilers, whatever. I don't really care. If you were going to watch it, you would have watched it by now, right? Like, if you're a Marvel person, you would have watched it by now. But I'll try not to ruin too much, but there's not much to ruin. So that's the first episode. And each episode ends with something a little odd or quirky at the end to make you want to watch the next episode. But to me, it's not enough. It hasn't given me enough in that half hour, maybe 30 seconds or something of, oh, okay, what's that about? And the next one is much the same. It starts off the same kind of the rom-com show laugh tracks about getting to know people in their neighborhood. Why are they there? A magic show. It's that you didn't need to do any of that. Like, the magic show you didn't need to do. I understand getting to know about where you are and why are you there, because they don't know for some reason. And then at the end, another odd thing happens, right? And, let's tune in next week. But that's about it. Like, there's a lot of Easter eggs in there. And if you don't know, who Sword is in like the Marvel comics and Avengers and all that stuff, there's hints of all that around, that they look and people are wearing these outfits, or there's logos somewhere of a sword and a circle. And Sword is, if you watched, was it the end of, was it Captain Marvel? I can't remember. Or Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man movie, in the end credits scene, where Nick Fury wakes up on this massive space station, and that's Sword, So they're like the intergalactic shield, kind of thing. Anyway, so I think that's what that's all about. But you don't know that. And I get it. You're supposed to find out as you go. But none of that matters. Like, everything that happened in those first two episodes doesn't mean anything. And I guess maybe that's what they're trying to do. But I'm not invested in it. I'm really not. And I'm just tuned out. Not really keen on waiting for next week to tune in again. I'm just going to hang around for the next 8 weeks or however long it's going to take. And then maybe I'll ask someone if it's worth watching to find out what the go is and see what this leads into. So who knows? It could be setting up for something big for, I don't know, Falcon Winter Soldier or the next Spider-Man multiverse or Doctor Strange. I don't know. This should have been released as just a bingeable season, because the episodes, the way they're structured in the Netflix way, where you want to keep watching episode to episode. Like, there are shows on Netflix that are just structured particularly that way, and this is one of them. And I don't think it lent itself very well to being a weekly episode. So yeah, I'm just a bit disappointed with it. Mind you, I went in with pretty low expectations, so I'm not that disappointed. But yeah, I don't know. That's just my initial take on the show. Whatever. What do you think about it? Just let me know in the comments section below. But let's just move right on to the next one. And speaking about disappointments, Zack Snyder, old mate, the genius himself, he has no plans to make more DC films. This is a bit of old news, but it's worth talking about because I haven't had a chance to speak about it. So yeah, he's basically come out more or less saying, yeah, done. I have no plans. And just initially, I can't blame the guy. I really can't. Like, yeah, I'm disappointed because I love what he was doing. I love what he was doing with the DC films universe. But you can't fault him for moving on, man. I can't even say, what are you doing, mate? No, this isn't fair. I can't. Like, if you look back at his time with the studio and the time with these movies and his time with the fandom, there's no reason for you to stick around. I wouldn't stick around for that shit. The online hate, the toxic fandom, the toxic reviewers, the toxic critics, the toxic studio. Like, everyone had it out for him, and I never understand why. Like, he's a master of what he does. I love his films, and that's not just because he made Man of Steel and whatever. I enjoyed his movies before then, and I was like, wow, this guy has a legit like cinematic signature to him, and no one else is doing what he does. He's like, Michael Bay has his visual style and his signature, for better or worse. You can't fault that. And Zack Snyder, he's one of them, but he's actually like, he has vision in his movies, and I love it. I really enjoy him as a filmmaker. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he does next, and I'm sure he is too. Like, I'm sure he wants to move on and try something else, spread his wings a bit more. He had a 5-movie plan at the studio, and they were backing it, until they started going, why aren't we making Marvel money? Why aren't we getting critical praise for the Marvel movies? Why? And unfortunately, he was the target at the studio. But we're only going to get 3 of his 5-movie plan with his Zack Snyder's Justice League coming out this year in March, apparently. So, I don't know if he's going to try and tie it up in that film. It's 4 hours long, who knows? But I'm disappointed. I would like to visit the world where his plan gets to fruition. I'd love to see it all. He's such a skilled filmmaker. Of course he'd want to do other things. I'm circling back on that, and I do want to see them. Like, he's got Army of the Dead coming out on Netflix. It's his own thing that he wrote like years ago, before Man of Steel and all that. I think he kind of came up with this idea around when he did Dawn of the Dead, the remake that he did. And it's got a animated prequel in the works as well, to coming to Netflix. So Netflix are all in on this. So that bears fruit, I guess, that they're backing it and they're supporting it. They really like it. It's not often that you go, oh yeah, we'll just get you to do a film. Oh, let's give you an animated series as well. That's pretty huge, right? So good on him. And I hope he does more in that, if that's what he really wants to do going forward. I hope that's what he does. The shot here on screen is a behind-the-scenes shot of him on set doing that stuff. So yeah, good on him. I hope in all this, studios will actually take him under their wing and work with him. Like, he has a fervent fan base, and he's one of the directors out there that are unique. They have a different eye to a lot of others. And people are still talking about his films today. Like, the movies that he's made in the past, people are still discussing them and finding details in them. Not just the DC ones, but all the comic book ones, but other ones like Sucker Punch. I really enjoyed that movie. There's a lot in that if you dig under the layers. But people just took it at face value as some kind of smut film, but it's not. Far from it. I won't go into detail too much, but in saying all of this, like I've been on board for Zack Snyder's vision of this universe ever since Man of Steel, and Batman vs Superman just blew me away, right? And then everything that's come out of all of that world that we've been getting, and it's just kind of been falling off, and there's no faith at the studio. The studio didn't even want Justice League to come out. Like the people that are still there that haven't been fired or let go, they didn't want it to come out. They were ready to move on and do something else. So they got no faith in the film already when you know that side of it, which, you know, I totally understand why he's just done and wants to move on as well. But I'm also kind of ready to kind of just wipe my hands of it all, to be honest. I've had time away from the conversation online and the whole bullshit that surrounds all this kind of stuff. And like, I know I'm not going to get what we could have gotten. And I know the studio wants to move in a different direction. They've already been doing it. When you look at Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 84, if that's the way they want to go, oof, you know, oh boy. You know, I'm glad that you have my screen just turned off for a second there. I've been talking too long. I'm glad that you're happy with how it's going, and if that's the direction you want it to go in, fine. But you have to look at it and go, wow, these movies aren't of the same quality. They aren't of the same meat. You know, they aren't of the same blood. They aren't of the same everything, right? I can't stress that enough. Even Aquaman, I really enjoyed Aquaman. That was amazing. I mean, James Wan, he's fantastic. But even that was tonally different, and that's fine. I want different movies. I want different experiences. Not like the Marvel movies where they all just feel the same. They're all part of the same TV show kind of thing. They all have that same feel. And that's by design, like even by the color palette, the cameras that they use, all that kind of stuff. It's by design, right? So that's fine, whatever. But I like turning up to the cinema and having a different visual experience. And yeah, I was going to... Wonder Woman 84 was actually... I was going to put that in this episode as my review for it. But I just don't want to talk about it. You know, and I don't really have much to say other than, you know, it wasn't what I wanted, wasn't what I expected it to be, and it was just way too cheesy, and you see it online, not many people enjoyed it. Birds of Prey is just the worst thing I've ever seen in a long time, and I wanted to walk out of the theater. Like, it was that bad. But, you know, I'm ranting on here a bit, but look, Man of Steel came out in 2013, god damn it. You know, and we still don't have a legit Superman sequel. Batman vs Superman, yeah, is technically the sequel to Man of Steel as a story, but we haven't had a solo Superman movie since 2013. You know, and we're in 2021 now. You know, what is the studio doing? You know, how can you not be pumping out Superman movies? You've got Henry Cavill there. Everybody loves him as Superman. You know, whatever you think of the stories he's been a part of, but he's Superman. Everybody loves it. He's a household name. You know, his name is out there. His fame is rising. All that kind of stuff. And you've just got him sitting there going, yeah, I'm ready when you are. And he's been like that for years. The fans want him. Just get a movie happening. J.J. Abrams is stepping in to do a new Superman movie, and it's just on the fence. It's not confirmed yet, but he is looking at it, whether Henry Cavill's coming in for this one or not. And my God, I tell you, if it's going to be someone other than Henry Cavill, I am legit out. You know, I'm already on the fence here of like, oh, I'm going to just stick around and maybe they'll change, you know, like a disgruntled partner, you know. But if it's like, nah, we're choosing someone else, we want to move into a completely different direction and have a new Superman, legit, I'm just fucking out. I do not care at that point. Whatever. I'll just keep my Blu-ray collection or whatever of films and end it at Zack Snyder's Justice League and cap it off and then move on. Maybe Power Rangers will reboot itself and have a wicked new universe for me to get invested in on movies. Or Transformers, you know, if they can get that happening as well. Whatever. Speaking of, it's going to... Last point here about this Zack Snyder's Justice League. A 4-hour movie... It's been cut down into 4 episodes of 1 hour long each on HBO Max. I'm still seeing online where there's debate on that, whether it's going to just be a long movie or they're just going to do the episodic method for it. But regardless, there is a Blu-ray time frame that they're already talking about. Leaks have come out saying March potentially this year, but that's when it comes out on HBO Max as well. But in my mind, if that is true, I think this is like Warner Brothers going, let's just get it out and wipe our hands with it and give them the thing that they just won't stop talking about to leave us alone. Put it out on HBO Max for people that don't want the Blu-ray. Put it out on Blu-ray to shut these people up, and let's just leave it at that, shall we? And if that's how it is, if that's the discourse we're gonna have, I'm good. Whatever. Let's just have that and walk our separate ways. Wonder Woman 84 April. That sounds fine. The release dates have been, lessening and lessening for Blu-ray home releases after cinema for ages now. And anyone that's wanted to see it would have seen it by now. So put it out, whatever. Yeah, I'll pick it up. I am keen to see it again, just to see if it was just me. I'd maybe been in a bad mindset when I saw it, but the general consensus online would say otherwise. Most people felt the same. Anyway, so that's the large diatribe on the Zack Snyder situation. And yes, walk away. I'm happy for you to do so because I am pretty much happy to walk away at this point as well. So yeah, moving right along. This is a smaller story, so this wasn't going to be so long in the tooth. I promise. So Liam Neeson, the man himself. People that know me know that I am the Qui-Gon Jinn fan. Like I really, really dug that character, and it stayed with me ever since Phantom Menace. But you just don't see him enough now. I think that's a disservice to the property, really, and the character. Like, without Qui-Gon Jinn, you wouldn't have had anything happen, right? He's the one that found Anakin. He's the one that pushed the Jedi Council to bring him in, bring Anakin Skywalker in under his wing, and then they're like, no, we're not going to allow it. And it's all right, I'll get Obi Wan to do it. Or stuff you, I'll do it myself. When he walked out, he's like, I heard what they said, but I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. And that's what I really like about the character. He walks his own path. He is confident in who he is and what he does, and his reasoning and morals behind it. And he was legit like the father figure. There's a Filoni conversation on the round table thing on Disney, where all the creators of the Mandalorian series are talking about their episodes and what Star Wars means to them, blah blah blah. And Filoni was going on, you've probably seen it, but Filoni was going on about the importance of the Phantom Menace and Qui-Gon Jinn and the Duel of the Fates and all that kind of stuff. And how it set up Star Wars, the story going forward. And it's really insightful. I guarantee, I recommend you go find that and listen to it or watch it. It'll change your mind on how you perceive the prequels. I really like the prequels. I really do. I know a lot of people hate on them, but I think they're better than people give credit for. Attack of the Clones has some weak-ass dialogue moments, though. Holy shit. But, all in all, I think they're very good movies. But anyway, so Obi Wan Kenobi series has been announced for Disney+. I'm very excited for that. I really enjoyed Ewan McGregor's interpretation of Obi-Wan in the prequels, and I can't wait to see more of that. And just that gap of story between when he's exiled, or he goes into exile to Tatooine and look over from afar for Luke Skywalker, just make sure he grows up right, so he doesn't end up like his father, that kind of stuff. I want to see that. I want to see that explored. And at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda's like, oi, mate, I'm going to show you a little trick so you can communicate with people in the Force. One being your mentor, Qui-Gon, right? And I was like, oh, man, that's that one line of dialogue. I've been wanting to see that ever since. And in the animated series, I haven't watched them yet, but they do kind of tackle that. I have yet to go back and watch it. It's been going for ages, and I don't know where to start with the cartoons, so I'll just maybe YouTube a thing. But I've been trying to avoid watching that scene because I want to actually see it, in live action, in front of my eyes, with Liam Neeson in there. So he was asked about it, right? And there's a little quote here that I made. It's a very small quote. See how much room it took up? He's a man of very few words. But he was asked about being in the show, or if he was interested. So he says, I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard that at all. Whatever. I don't agree with that at all. Neeson initially said of the rumor of him returning in the series, before later adding, "Sure, I'd be up for that. Yeah." So that's it. That's the only quote that we have available of him saying if he's interested in this movie at all, or this series at all. But I don't believe that for a second. He would have known. He would have been asked. He would have been approached. The fans would be asking for it, and they have been, because I'm one of them. And I know online people have been asking for it too. And the way the direction these new Star Wars creators are going, they know what the fans want. They really do. Everything that they've done so far speaks volumes way and above of what the sequel trilogy has ever achieved or ever made people feel. Like, I don't care what anyone says, those sequel movies were horrible. Just rife with missed opportunities and just handled so poorly. And I don't even need to go into detail of that, because those of you who watch those movies, or those of you who are a fan of Star Wars, I'm not a massive fan of Star Wars, but I like it. And I'm ready to go. But those that are in it, like, they totally understand what I'm saying. So I do trust the new creators in Favreau and Filoni, who are, spearheading this new golden age, so to speak, of Star Wars. And if anyone's going to make Liam Neeson come back, it's going to be those two. And I guarantee you they've had conversations. It's just a gut feeling. It's just a feeling. So yeah, I'm interested to know, like, who's your favorite Star Wars character from whatever movie? And is there one that you'd like to see them get their own series, or be, maybe a co-star or something like that, or a special appearance in this new Disney Plus era of shows? Let me know down below. But Qui-Gon Jinn, number one, son. I cannot wait. Yeah, so moving on. Oh, that end of Mandalorian Season 2, by the way, is one of the most epic things I've seen in a very long time. Please go watch it if you haven't already. I guarantee you will lose your shit. So yeah, next up is Mortal Kombat. Finally, we see some stuff from this movie. Man, it's been like a vacant lot of no information for ages. And all of a sudden we get this large article from, I think it's EW.com, with preview images. Go check it out if you haven't already online. I'm not going to go through every image here, because there's 8 of them or whatever, and I'm not going to waste your time going through all of them. But I want to talk about it in general, because there's a few key things that I want to talk about. The new photos that they released. We got Liu Kang and Kung Lao here. Awesome. Like, this is already just hitting on the right tone and the right look for me. This is kind of what I was hoping that they would do. If you've played or watched anything to do with the last couple of Mortal Kombat games, or the production value is just up the roof, I've wanted to see something like that on the big screen again. And Mortal Kombat lends really well to being something, like really something. Like, the first movie back in the 90s is still, in my opinion, an absolute classic. I love that film. I don't care what anyone says. People say it's crap, but it's really not. It's quite excellent. So you got these new images came out. Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Kano, which you can see one of his eyes has the red light in it, and his face is all scratched up. Are we going to see the metal plate appear underneath all that as he gets beaten up? That's what I think is going to happen, because there's scratches on his face. Actually, lends me to believe that he's going to have that under there, and we might get that iconic Kano face. Sonya's in there. Sub-Zero, there's a photo of him. Sub-Zero, I think I made one of those. Yeah, this is one of the other key images that I wanted to bring up today. Like, this looks very much like Mortal Kombat X. The suit, the headgear, you can see a part of his mask in there. Very much of the recent Mortal Kombat era. So this makes me feel good about what they're doing with this property. And Scorpion, they had a photo of civilian Scorpion before he became Scorpion. Name is escaping me right now, and I didn't write it down, but whatever. Everybody knows. If you're interested in Mortal Kombat, you know what the hell I'm talking about. The one thing I'm really concerned about is there's a new character, Cole Young, which I think is a replacement or stand-in for Johnny Cage. Because I don't think Johnny Cage would fit in today's mass media, right? Like, he's in the games, he is like laughable, and by today's standards, you're like, God, some of the stuff that he says, like, he's a joke, right? And in the newer games, it's like an obvious joke, and they're doing it as such, but I don't think people in the movie scape, because they're all sensitive Sallys and I can't take a joke at all today, I don't think he'll fit in because he's a bit of a womanizer. He's really up himself, a bit chauvinistic, but it's funny. Like, it's not done in a legit serious way. It's humorous, and I just don't think it'd work, which I think is part reason why they've got this new character, Cole Young, as the token us, like in the movie. He's like any odd person. He's kind of like an actor that's falling on hard times, and he's a failed MMA fighter and all this kind of stuff, and he finds his way into the Mortal Kombat realm somehow. He's got some special tattoo or symbol on his body or something like that. I don't know the full details, but it's on the article. They kind of talk about it briefly, about why he's there and what his purpose is, without giving it too much away. But I think that's what it is. He's a stand-in for Johnny Cage and the us. As when we view these iconic characters, we're like, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so, and it's all new to him as well. He doesn't know who they are, and we're going to see all these, new introductions through his eyes. I think that's how it's going to go, and that interests me in that way. If they do it right, it could be very well done. But I'm not going to lie, I'm going to miss Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage could be, the good kind of take the edge off. If it's dead serious and violent, he could be that character that could just take the edge off, right? Like the first one. First movie kind of did it that way. And even in the new game, so that everybody's tearing each other apart, and in walks Johnny Cage with a one-liner or, taking the piss out of himself, takes the edge off. I'll miss that aspect, not going to lie. But one concern is this is the director's first feature film. He's mates with James Wan, who I mentioned earlier, of Aquaman fame, who directed that. He's producing this with his mate. And there's another guy called Tom. Can't remember his name. Anyway, I mean, it's kind of credibility there. I guess you had to, for this kind of a property, to give it to a first-time feature filmmaker, and adding James Wan to the mix. They know each other. There's obviously some trust there. And is that enough to get this movie over the line? We haven't seen it yet, obviously, but test screenings, they say, have been positive. So I'm going in with moderate expectations into this one. But the main thing I really wanted to talk about, there's a lot in that article, but the one that stood out to me was the concern over fatalities. Not that I'm concerned that they're going to be in there, but how are they going to be in there? And like, how bad are they going to be? Because as again, I keep touching on Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11. If you've seen the fatalities in those two games, some of that shit is cringe-inducing as far as like, oh my God, I didn't need to see that. That kind of thing. So my concern is what is the rating going to be? So we've got a rather lengthy quote here from Simon McQuaid. I think that's how you say his name. He's the director, first time feature film director for this movie. And he goes to say, fatalities, as in the dramatic finishing moves from the games that often involve severing someone completely in half or ripping out someone's spine, will be realized for the first time in a Mortal Kombat movie, because there were none. Really, in the first two movies that came out. There are some crazy fatalities. Tan confirms. I think that's Tom or his mate, the other producer. We've picked a couple of iconic ones. It's a lot of really cool signature moves that you'll see. Nice. A lot of Easter eggs that we snuck into the film. But there are some really badass fatalities that I can't wait to see on the big screen. They're brutal, man. Yeah, man. They don't hold back. At the same time, McQuaid didn't want to get into the N17 territory, which is like R rating here in Australia. He notes, it's amazing how quickly you can get there. It doesn't take much, at least not for a Mortal Kombat movie. Right. So, or are they going for PG-13? Because in American standards, PG-13, you'd be surprised with how much you can get away with in today's world for PG-13. And look, I am concerned about it, but why I'm concerned about that is like, how much does it matter to Mortal Kombat, really, to have fatalities? Like, we had the first movie without any, right? And I still love that movie, and people still love it. They still regard it as the best Mortal Kombat movie since, and they've had other interpretations like online web series and stuff, but I personally think it's still the best. But I do want to see the fatalities. I want to see how far they can stretch the line. I wouldn't mind if they just went full on with it, the games get away with it because it's so comically overdone that you can't take it seriously. It's just so all over the shop, right? But I get it. It's a bit different in a movie because it can look a bit realistic depending, I'm going to assume they're going to use prosthetics, and blood squibs and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to look a bit more realistic. So how are they going to get there? There is an R-rating fan base out there. Like Deadpool's a giveaway for that. That was R-rated and that made hundreds of millions of dollars. And there have been Mortal Kombat fans here for years that have been wanting something like that. There was an animated movie that came out months ago, or late 2020, and that had some pretty brutal fatalities in it. And I think that might have been like a test, or an expensive test. Animated movies aren't cheap, but I think that might have been a test bed to be like, all right, let's see who turns up for this. If they could turn up for an animated movie that's violent, has blood and fatalities in it, perhaps we can get away with it. And I for one, think they will. I think they'll get away with it. And I really hope they push it as far as they can. I'm trying not to sneeze. I really hope they push it as far as they can to the line. I don't want to get anything held back as much as possible. And I have my faith in this. I think the guy goes on in the article to say he's a Mortal Kombat fan. He's played the games. I know a lot of directors and creative people say that. Like, oh, yeah, I've read the comics for years. And, oh, yeah, I used to watch the cartoon like whenever they're part of something. I get that. But part of me actually believes this guy. And James Wan, if you know him in the interviews, he's like dead brutally honest. And he comes across as a really nice guy, really down to earth, knows what he's doing, knows his shit. So I have faith in this project. I really do. And I can't wait to see it. April 16th, it comes out in cinemas and HBO Max if you have that, wherever you are. Let me know what you think. Is this a cause for concern? Like, are you worried about the rating? Are you worried that this is a first-time feature filmmaker? It doesn't always work out. It doesn't always work out. But I am putting my faith in it. And I'm going in with not high hopes, but, the best of intentions, to say the least. Can't wait. Yeah, so that's it. I think that's the last thing on my list. Yeah, that is. And here we are at the end of Chuntcast 25. The first one for 2021. Wasn't so bad. It wasn't so rusty. I lost my train of thought a couple of times, but it's the start of the new year for me on this one. And I'm only going to get better as we go. So, fill down my comment sections. Just fill it up completely. I want to get some interaction. I want to know what you guys are thinking. As I said at the top of the show, if you're the two people that are still here at the end, you're the best. You're the better than the rest. I'm going to kiss my ass. Well, I'm going to kiss my ass and yours as much as I can. UncleChunt.com. That's where I'm going to be putting most of my stuff and my social links. I'm not going to read out everything. People sit there at the end of the videos going, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on blah, blah. I care not for that crap. UncleChunt.com. You see it down the bottom there. You'll find all my links. In the meantime, this is my new read-off. I'm going to see if it sticks, and eventually I'm going to make a soundbite for it using the sounds that these come from, all right? So this is now my sign-off. In the meantime, till all are one, may the power protect you, and Bumblebee Tuna. 10 points to anyone that recognizes where Bumblebee Tuna comes from. Yeah, cool. I'm going to go do something else. See you later.
Like, comment, subscribe.